2:17 a.m. A white pickup truck sits on the shoulder of Highway 41. Its right blinker ticks steadily in the dark. Inside, a man rests both hands calmly on the steering wheel. He is not arguing. He is not shaking. He is not asking why he was stopped. 9 hours earlier, 2 people were shot inside their own kitchen. Multiple agencies are searching for the suspect. Helicopters were requested. Roadblocks were discussed. The trooper walking toward the driver's window believes this is a routine lane violation. In less than 10 minutes, this stop will end a double homicide manhunt, and the suspect will not resist. At 4:58 p.m., Briarwood Lane was quiet. Porch lights timed for dusk. Trash bins near the curb. Neighbors returning from work. Then raised voices. The argument lasted less than 60 seconds. A sharp crash, glass breaking. The first gunshot followed immediately. A pause. The second. Another pause longer. Then the third. When officers entered the residence minutes later, dinner plates were still on the counter. One chair lay overturned. A cell phone rested face down on tile flooring. There were no signs of forced entry. The shooter had been allowed inside. Witnesses reported a white pickup truck leaving the driveway at high speed. One detail stood out. The right rear taillight appeared cracked. Red tape across the lens. At the time, it seemed minor. It would not remain that way. By 6:00 p.m., investigators identified a suspect known to both victims. Recent text exchanges indicated escalating hostility. At 4:52 p.m., minutes before the gunfire, one message read, "We need to settle this now." At 7:05 p.m., an arrest warrant was issued. The suspect's phone stopped transmitting shortly after. Local law enforcement requested state assistance. Highways were monitored. Gas stations notified. Air support requested but grounded due to worsening weather. At 9:42 p.m., surveillance footage from a neighboring county captured a white pickup refueling. Paid in cash. Direction of travel: northbound. The cracked taillight was visible on camera. The search perimeter expanded. Officers rotated shifts. Fatigue set in. The suspect did not contact family. He did not post online. He continued driving. 2:14 a.m., Trooper Daniel Harper observed a white pickup drift across the fog line before correcting. Minor traffic violation. He activated emergency lights. The truck slowed immediately. No acceleration. No turn onto a side road. It pulled to the shoulder within seconds. That registered. The window lowered halfway. "Evening, officer." The voice was steady. License and registration were produced without fumbling. Hands returned to the steering wheel. No visible tremor. Harper walked past the rear of the truck. The right taillight cracked. Red tape across the edge. A detail mentioned hours earlier in manhunt briefings. He returned to his patrol unit, entered the driver's information. The system populated, then paused. Warrant: homicide, armed and dangerous. Time elapsed: 3 minutes, 41 seconds. Harper did not change tone on the radio. He requested backup using neutral phrasing. Inside the truck, the driver remained motionless. No glance in the mirror, no sudden breathing shift. Just stillness. At 2:23 a.m., additional units arrived without sirens. Harper approached again. "Sir, step out of the vehicle." 2 seconds of silence. The driver exhaled slowly, then nodded. He exited, turned around, placed his hands behind his back. No resistance, no questions. Total duration: 9 minutes, 12 seconds. The manhunt ended quietly on the side of a highway. 4:03 a.m., fluorescent lights, metal table, hands cuffed to a steel ring. The suspect's posture was upright, controlled. Detectives began with neutral questions. Name, employment, address. Responses were fluid. When asked, "Do you know why you're here?" he replied, "I assume it's about earlier." He did not say what earlier meant. When detectives referenced the victims, he used only first names. No relational identifiers. At 4:11 a.m., gas station still images were placed in front of him. A brief jaw tightening occurred. Less than a second. When asked where he was at 5:00 p.m., he stated, "Driving around. Needed air." The phrase repeated 3 times. each repetition nearly identical. Truthful accounts tend to expand under prompting. Fabricated accounts often recycle. At 4:19 a.m., a direct question. Did you shoot them? 8 seconds of silence. He stared at the table, then said, "It wasn't supposed to happen like that." Not a denial, a reframing, minimization language. When ballistic evidence was introduced, his breathing rate increased slightly. His fingers flexed against the cuff chain. Physiological response emerged only when physical proof was discussed, not when moral responsibility was raised. At 4:32 a.m., he requested an attorney. The interview ended. The most unusual element in this case is the compliance. Fleeing homicide suspects typically display one of 3 behaviors during unexpected police contact: flight, aggression, or panic-driven error. He displayed none. Possible explanations include acute stress dissociation, a neurological dampening response following extreme adrenaline discharge. Another explanation involves cognitive exhaustion. Sustained evasion depletes executive function, impairing rapid threat evaluation. A third involves inevitability perception recognition that outcomes are no longer controllable. During interrogation, linguistic distancing was consistent. Passive phrasing, avoidance of first-person ownership, delayed responses before partial admissions. Notably absent was a spontaneous question regarding the victim's condition. He did not ask if they were alive. Investigators documented that absence. Silence, in this case, was not empty. It was information. Digital forensic analysis shifted the case from circumstantial to definitive. The 4:52 p.m. text message, "We need to settle this now," established directed confrontation. Cell tower data placed his device at the residence during the shooting window. Gunshot residue confirmed close-range discharge. Ballistics matched the recovered firearm in the glove compartment to shell casings at the scene. When presented with time-stamped digital evidence, he did not attempt reinterpretation. He stopped speaking. The investigation transitioned to prosecution. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. During trial, dashcam footage of the traffic stop was shown to the jury. Jurors watched the calm compliance. The normalcy of the interaction contrasted sharply with the violence described in testimony. The prosecution characterized it as calculated surrender. The defense suggested shock and exhaustion. After less than 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned guilty verdicts on both counts. He received consecutive life sentences without parole. Trooper Harper later stated he believed the stop would result in a simple warning citation. He did not draw his weapon during initial contact. At 5:03 p.m., 2 lives ended in a kitchen. At 2:17 a.m., the suspect stood silently on the shoulder of a highway. No pursuit, no barricade, no negotiation. The search concluded because of a slight drift over a painted line, a cracked taillight, a routine database check. 10 minutes separated uncertainty from arrest. Sometimes the most complex investigations do not end in chaos. They end in procedure and a suspect who simply steps out of the vehicle. Every case leaves a record. Some are ignored. Others demand a closer look. At Arcane Echo, True Crime, we follow what was documented, not what was assumed. If you value evidence over speculation and process over narrative, subscribe and enable notifications. Each episode examines verified records, investigative steps, and official timelines, so you can see how facts are established and how cases actually unfold. Until the next case is examined, stay observant.